So now we're going to talk about what to do about that surplus. And just take one sheet and pass it on. And then there's a second one that's coming along with it. If you can just take one and pass it on.
Excuse me, are there extras to any of these handouts?
Not yet.
Alright. Do I have to do an open records request to get them then, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which way do you want there? How many copies you need there, Bob? Could do it in stereo, one for each eye or something. Okay.
All right, so I'm on this sheet right here.
Okay.
Last year, about this time, we assigned $400,000 to the fund balance. Okay, that was a surplus last fiscal year. And the target of that $400,000 was maintenance projects. Well, the biggest maintenance project was the Evergreen roof, and you can see that 196,100. That's the second line. We got that. So that means that we have just under 204 left. You see that? Okay. All right. So then, good practice according to the auditor is that you still have that $204,000 sitting there. What we need to do is we actually need to reapprove assigning it again. So you should be doing that on an annual basis. Does that make sense? All right. What Mary and I talked about this afternoon was, well, we know from tech projects, both the Chromebook project for the 3.5 piece that we just took care of last month, and 2 months ago was expanding on the iPad piece. That total cost for those two projects is $127. Okay. The Evergreen boilers are going to need to be done. I mean, we've been holding off on that for quite a while. And the last cost in that was about $90,000. Okay, so that means if we spent that leftover fund balance with 127 plus 90, we've got about 13,100 we would still need to come up with. My recommendation then from the surplus is going to be, first off, to preload or preset aside some money for 4K startup at $350,000. Okay? Therefore, we don't have to tax for it, if that makes sense to you. And where that 350 comes from is basically, you know, I updated the projected costs to you in May as far as program startup with supplies, staffing, that type of thing. So that's where that 350 is coming from. So you've had that number for a while. Okay, so then you've got 363,100. My other suggestion then is if you go down to Fund 73 transfer, that's our OPEB fund. Look at that spreadsheet, that second page that just came around. All right, if you look at that spreadsheet, you will see in the very, very first column, it's in the slim column, the numbers 1 through 13. Do you see that? Okay, that represents 13 different former employees that had deals as far as retirement, special retirements, that type of thing. What we've had to do in the past is actually budget for those year by year by year. And now with the fact that we've got a Fund 73, we're supposed to actually budget for that to Fund 10 and then transfer that to Fund 73, only take it out of Fund 73 to pay the insurance. So the thought or the suggestion is that we actually pay it all off and be done with it, which would alleviate post-employment burden to the district futuristically of all the deals over, I mean, that's quite a span of time there, just so you know, with those 13 people. And the cost on that is $322,253. The second part then in the middle of that spreadsheet is there are 3 current staff members that have, you know, a good chunk of service. We're looking at 20, 25 years that we have not put money aside for yet. And so the recommendation would be to also have 3 chunks of $48,000 put aside for those 3 staff members. So when you add that 322 and that 144, that's where that 466,253 comes from. Does that make sense to you? So that's the post-employment benefit piece. Mary, is there anything you want to add to that?
The pay-as-you-go, it's not even a matter of transferring it back and forth. The fact of the matter is, when you start a Fund 73, you're no longer allowed to have pay-as-you-go. But we never funded that to begin with, because we assumed the pay-as-you-go just kept going. You know, those would run out, and then we were starting a Fund 73, but according to GASB and DPI, you can't do that. It should be coming directly out of Fund 73. And so it
Just
kinda-
semantics where it comes from. We
It
still
kind of
budget
makes
for
sense
it.
to get it in there and be done with it, and then we're drawing out of it like we should be.
I don't know, that's a lot of money to put all in at one time, just for the fact that you want to say you don't want it off the books. I mean, what's the deal? Why not have a fund transfer at the end of the year that we do this? It's budgeted for, what's the difference? We're just gonna move it through, like we just do special ed, moving it through.
It's just less of a burden from
I
an annual,
understand.
from an annual budgeting standpoint.
Yeah.
And seeing that financially we're healthy right now and we can afford to take care of it.
The funding funds.
And the other thing is by having Fund 73, there is some earnings on it too, by sitting in there.
Well, yeah, well, that's another question I've got on this though. You know, the question is, and this is not our total fund balance of OPEB right now. I mean, what's our fund balance in OPEB?
I'd have to get that for you.
Yeah, I mean, we got a million, right?
If not, it's pretty close to it.
Yeah, and not to mention the way that the market's been going pretty well here. I kinda don't like the idea of putting a heck of a lot more money into OPEB right now. I mean, I don't mind putting money into OPEB, but here the issue is the group here, everybody anticipated this is gonna be a long-term funding out of the regular account. I don't like the idea of charging everybody now in this current scenario for an all one-time lump sum payment on their current taxes when it should be stretched out over a period of time. Why not let future people that are owning houses and stuff pay for this too? Why would it be the person that lives in the houses right now that pays the whole upfront cost to move it over to OPEB just to collect interest? You know what I mean? I mean, yes, I'd like to have it off the books and clean and stuff, but it'll take care of itself over a period of time. I just don't think it's right to charge current people for what was agreed to be spent over a period of,
5 years from now.
well, it could be a 10-year cycle or something on a few of these people.
I guess wasn't that agreed upon at the point when pay-as-you-go was
Well, it's always
okay?
been that way.
But now that's changed, what you were just saying, right?
Well, only because we started the OPEB account. So it's like a pass-through like special ed. And we, at the end of the year, we take all our money out of Fund 10, put it to 27 to pay the special ed off, right? I mean, other than that, we don't do anything during special ed during the year.
Right,
Except for our
so
transfer
what-
payments.
What's the difference between funding and grandfathering these people in and putting them right into OPEB in this group here?
Well, because this group here with the dollar amounts you're looking at, I mean, it's pretty substantial. And nobody agreed to have those all at one lump sum payment done out, right? I mean, right now, from the money we're making on our other one, which hasn't been deemed not available yet, on our, what's the name of the thing? Our funding for our health insurance,
HRA.
our HRA. So right now, our HRA excess revenue on that one, what's that going to be this year?
100,
Is that on here?
185.
185.
Okay, so we're putting 185,000 away, right?
Yeah.
So at 185,000 a year, I mean, that's pretty good money putting in for people that won't be receiving payment on some of this stuff for quite a while. The question is at what rate do you put in and you're gonna have too much? That's what my question would be. I mean, you're gonna wind up with 1.3 or 1.4. By the looks of it, you wanna do 322 and another totals up to 466 or something?
Yep.
So you'd have $1.5 million sitting there, gaining pretty good rates on the return right now? I mean, when we started this thing, what was the market down? 12.5, 12, somewhere around there? We gotta be doing substantially good on our return on the investment. I can't imagine, if we're putting in 200,000 a year, we're not letting people retire at a rate of 200,000 a year. We pre-funded all the high price, which would be anything to do with, any, on the administrative level. So do you foresee that account balance coming down quickly? Not from what I see the payouts are. I guess that would be my question, what's the reasoning?
The reasoning is to get it off the books. We've got the financial health to do that now. And as I said, it would just, it seemed like a good thing futuristically to have that
Yeah.
taken care of. And the other thing, as you mentioned, and I mentioned, the investment is doing well, so.
I guess I would be agreeable to part of this, but I'm not agreeable to the whole amount.
Okay.
I'd be agreeable if you want to get that portion off the books and move some over into OPEB. I don't think I got a problem with that. I don't think pre-funding the other ones is a good idea if we're already putting in at a rate of, 150 to 200,000 a year. This whole entire amount will be pre-funded in a matter of 10 years at that rate, That's a pretty substantial number. I mean, put it this way, if the high school's putting at 3,000 a year away for 60 employees, so we've got, 100 employees?
115.
Yeah, roughly.
Yeah.
So if you're putting a couple thousand a year, that's 200,000, I think that we're right about where we are right now with the HRA doing what it needs to.
Okay. So what you're,
I can't see pre-funding much more.
okay. So what, you're at least receptive to that group of 13?
Yeah, if you want to get that off the books and make it clean,
Okay.
I still don't know that I like doing it all in one lump sum. I mean, if you've got the extra money now, I guess I'm not opposed to it. But I wouldn't be in favor of saying in the future we want to tax for doing that, but you've got the money now, so it'd be cleared up this year. So I would be agreeable to that one, but I'm not agreeable to the next ones with the 48 on there.
So leave the 348s off, is what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The 144,